Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. When you are envisioning, creating, and speaking what you want, it's important to be as specific as possible with your language, or else you really could produce unintended results. That is one of the codes of the unconscious mind, specificity. And I'm going to kind of share with you a little bit about that on this video today. So, y'all know me. I'm Dr. Maisha, your business entrepreneur, coach, but also your NLP and hypnosis trainer. And I love helping people really undo their own undo their own conditioning and remap their minds so that they can achieve these amazing and powerful results in a career, business, or life. That's what I do. Now, if you're listening to me live, comment in the comment section. Let me know you're here. I do love to know people watching. Say hi. But let's get right into it. So, have you heard the saying that when you're asking, for what you want, you need to be very specific? It's like when you're asking for, you say, okay, well, I want more money. More is very vague, right? More money could be an additional dollar that you pick up on the street. But if you're specific about what you want, then you're more likely to create the circumstances for your unconscious mind to actually notice the opportunities to get that. So the reason for this is because the unconscious mind really likes to have clear and specific direction in order for it to be able to look for and produce the results that it wants. And a lot of times, we operate from our conscious mind. But the conscious mind has to be in rapport with the unconscious mind so that it can follow the orders. What does that mean? It's like the insides matching the outsides. So have you ever experienced where, you're talking to someone and they're saying something, you're getting their responses, but you feel this sort of energy like what they're saying doesn't match how they really feel? Or even for yourself, if you're doing affirmations, a lot of people like to do affirmations, right? Love. I'm a not anti-affirmation, but what I am really pro is for if you're going to speak something into existence that you really believe it, you really sort of have rapport with that unconscious mind in order to do that. So sometimes they say fake it till you make it. You are saying these out of it on the inside. Well, that is not having that rapport on with the unconscious mind. So if there's no rapport with the unconscious mind, then it will not follow the orders or the directions that you give it. So you can say, hey, this is what I'm creating in my life is to make $1,000 more per month, or $5,000 more per month, or to create an amazing, juicy, delicious relationship in my life. But if what's happening on the inside, in the unconscious, these old internal limiting decisions, thoughts are not aligned with what you're consciously saying, then there'll be no opportunity for your unconscious mind to produce these results in the real world. Like you won't be able to see Mr. or Mrs. Right coming down the street, or passing you in the grocery store aisle if your unconscious mind has an internal conversation about yourself that has you be projecting something else about you. So when I talk about, this is what I'm talking about, being your conscious mind being in rapport with the unconscious mind. And when I talk about rapport, for the purposes of this short video, I'm talking about alignment. It needs to feel, the unconscious mind needs to feel a sense of likeness and alignment to the conscious mind. And then if it has that likeness or that congruency, I like to say, so there's lots of words for it. There's alignment, there's congruency, there's having your insides match your outsides, and there's the sense of this being whole and complete, right? There's all these types of phrases that you can use for the conscious mind having a rapport with the unconscious mind. And with that rapport, the unconscious mind can follow just about any direction you give it. And so trust is important to develop in this context, because if we really can get that the unconscious mind is in charge of our physical and many mental processes, then we really can get that having that alignment will actually produce results out there in the world. All right. And I think that's the thing sometimes that's most difficult to believe. Like, oh, so you're saying that I can say I want something and it just appear? Well, not without the work, obviously. But what really happens is that when you really have this sort of congruency or this alignment or this rapport between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, what happens is when you speak an order out loud to your unconscious mind, when you give your unconscious mind a directive, it can then open up and look for all of the opportunities out there that will lead you down the path to fulfilling that particular direction. And that is the way, that's sort of like how, in a way, the law of attraction works, is really activating that reticular activating system that allows you to see the opportunities that you then could not see because that alignment wasn't there, right? You had some limiting belief or some internal conflict or some negative stuck emotion or some traumatic experience in the way, right? So that is why it's so important to not only be very specific in your directions and directives with the unconscious mind, but also have the conscious mind and the unconscious mind being alignment and rapport with each other. And how you do that is by getting all the junk out of the way, all the junk in the middle, you get it out of the way and you close the gap of alignment between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Now, here are a couple of other things to keep in mind, though, right? So the unconscious mind works on the principle of least effort, the path of least resistance. What does that mean? It means that it will do as little as possible to get the job done as the order done as given by the conscious mind. And that's another reason why you want to be as specific as possible about the orders that you give it, because it will take the path of least resistance. So if you say, hey, I want to earn a lot more money in 2020, then a lot more money is super vague. And the unconscious mind will take the path of least effort to give what its context of a lot more money is based on your own unconscious beliefs, right? But if you say, I want to make, $20,000 more this year than I did last year, or $30,000 more than I did last year, then the unconscious mind looks at, well, what are the opportunities that could be in place that will allow you? And they may not look like what you initially think they're supposed to look like. And that's the thing we got to get. We have a plan like it's supposed to look like something, but it doesn't always look like what we think it's supposed to look like. We have to trust the unconscious mind to be able to show us the pathways and recognize them when they come. The second thing you got to keep in mind when getting real specific with the unconscious mind and giving the unconscious mind orders is that it cannot process the negative, right? And this is important because it's when you talk about what you want, oftentimes we talk about what we don't want, right? And when we're talking about what we don't want, then what the unconscious mind only hears is more of that thing, right? So as an example, if I tell you, if we're out to a restaurant and I'm sitting across from you, and we've all probably had this experience, I'm sitting across from you and I say, don't look behind you at that couple. The first thing you're going to want to do is look behind you, right? That's the first thing you want to do, because the unconscious mind only hears look behind you. It's like, don't look at the pink elephant. What is a pink elephant? And your eyes start to look for the pink elephant. So what you want to do is you want to make sure when you're creating in language, and this is when I talk about creating language, I'm not talking about, oh, we're sitting here and we're writing down some goals. Yes, there's that. But as you're talking on an everyday basis, you want to be very mindful of how you create your words. All right. So you want to talk about what you want, what you're creating, what you're grateful for, what you have, and be mindful about what you don't have or what you don't want. Because the more you keep yourself in that space of don't want, the more of that you're going to get. And that's not to say you never use that word, I don't want, or I can't, do this or do that. It's to say that the more mindful of it that you are, the more you'll be able to begin to reframe that type of language and find new language that will support what you want. All right. That will support what you want in your life rather than focusing on what you don't have or what you don't want. And again, what that does is that begins to close the gap of misalignment in between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, and actually give access to the unconscious mind to see the opportunities that allow you to produce the result that you want. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Post in the comment if that makes sense. So, this is why it's so important to understand how the unconscious mind works. And what I want is for you to post in the takeaways, like how has your conscious mind been out of alignment with your unconscious mind? What is the language that you know that you've been using that is in misalignment? What are those words? Those negatives that you've been using that now to begin to reframe, consciously reframe so that you can close that alignment, right? Where are you out of alignment from a belief standpoint, from an internal conflict standpoint, and that creates that misalignment? And how will you modify your language, your behavior, your self-talk, so that you begin to create that alignment between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind? A lot of times you can do this work right on your own, and sometimes you need a little help. Either way, understanding how the unconscious mind works and especially in relationship to our consciousness, it's what gives us a deeper understanding of why you operate the way you do and why you sometimes get stuck in the same places over and over again, right? And learning the tools, and some of you training in NLP gives you the access to unhook some of these invisible influences, and not only access and transform your own life, but be able to transform the lives of your clients and your patients and the people in your life. So by now you might be asking, well, okay, I got all of that, but if I wanted to do deeper study, how do I do that? Well, I got two things for you. The first is a free course I have right on my website called Remap Your Mind for Success. You can get there by going to drmaisha.com, register right from the home page. All right. And so that's like a first step that you can take. If you want to go more deeply, if you want to go deeper into this study, one of the ways you could do that is by joining me and Dr. Manny on July 18th at our Remap Your Mind, or Mind Remapping and Manifestation Retreat 2.0 virtual. It is virtual retreat 2.0 on July 18th. And this is where we'll be going deeper into the inner workings of the unconscious mind, into the hero's journey, into navigating out of what we call the drama triangle, so that you can have a more sense of a power and freedom and control in your life in any circumstance, right? And so you can register for that by going to bit.ly/virtual transformations. That's bit.ly, which is bit.ly/virtual transformations. I'll post that in the comments. If you register before June 15th, then you can get the replay included. That'll be an upgrade after June 15th. So come hang out with us virtually at the Mind Remapping and Manifestation Retreat 2.0. And I want to know, post in the comments, what are your takeaways? What are your those conversations that are incongruent, that create incongruency in the conscious mind and the unconscious mind? What are the negatives that you use all the time that you're going to have to reframe yourself? Post those in the comments. Hey, Robert, attention to wording. Yes. And so Attention to wording is so important. It's so important. And so, yeah, post in the comments. What is that language that you're going to be shifting? You're going to take on this week, and you're going to be shifting such that you can begin to create new results in your life this week. Okay. I look forward to seeing you all on the next live next week. We're talking about more deepening on the unconscious mind and the connection to the conscious mind and how you create new results in your life by getting connected to the inner workings of the unconscious mind. Again, we love seeing you on lives. Come register for the retreat. Come hang out with me and Dr. Manny. And hope you guys have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week. Y'all stay safe out there. Wear your mask. Namaste.